Good morning and good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to episode 66 of the Leading IT podcast, and welcome to 2025. So happy New Year to everyone out there. We hope you had a nice and relaxing break, and you're ready for another big year in the fast-changing IT world. Now, if you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you're a returning listener, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Our podcast is for Australian IT leaders who want to stay up to date with the latest IT news and trends in AI, cybersecurity, low-code, cloud and infrastructure, strategy and leadership. And your hosts are Tom Leyden, experienced legendary CIO, is now at Longview, and myself, Josh Rubens, CEO at consulting firm Empyrean. And in this podcast, we tackle the fast-changing IT world from both sides of the table, being customer and consultant. And our episode today, we're going to have a crack at our predictions for enterprise technology for 2025. Obviously, we don't have crystal balls, but based on the last few years, our predictions have been pretty good. But it's also, just things for you all to have a think about in your plans and roadmaps for the next year ahead. So now let's get into it. G'day, Tom. Welcome.
G'day, Josh, and welcome to 2025. How was your break?
Too short.
Was the standard response these days.
It was. I stayed home, took it easy, watched a lot of cricket. The series, Australia series, was fantastic.
Yes, I was very fortunate to watch the Boxing Day test with my family and some of my Indian co-workers who were very quiet for some reason. Great season, great session. I really enjoyed the cricket this year.
Were you there on day one? On the first day?
I was. What a cracking day, eh?
Well, I would have been. I was watching at home, but with that Sam Constas and the shirt front from Kohli, it was fantastic.
Drama. That's what you want, right? Look, it's not a cricket podcast, I get it, but I think T20 has brought a huge spark into Test.
Yeah,
it's far more enjoyable to watch now.
Yeah, no, it was exciting and a good break, and a good chance to spend time with the family and refresh. All right, we'll get into our views of 2025. We'll kick off with some news if you want. Do you want to go first?
Bit of news. I mean, the only thing I've got is the US is starting to announce controls over their AI chips. See that one? So I think there's going to be a broader trend of the trade wars are going to get worse this year. Of course, the national sort of we control these. To stamp our authority on these things, and they're going to limit AI chips. How is that going to impact us in Australia? Not much, I'd imagine. We're still friendly with everyone. We're everyone's friend, so that shouldn't impact us. But something that I think that's going to be you'll be aware of, and it's going to impact pricing as well. I suspect prices will generally go up in this space.
So what are they doing? Are they limiting what Chinese manufactured chips? Is that is that basically it?
And they're limiting what they export and who they export to.
Right.
And then, they've done it before, which usually means there's counter tactics by China as well, which always impacts Australia at some level.
Right. Okay. Well, my news, and I'm so glad you didn't get it. I thought you would. I was certain you would have this one, so I'm glad I'm sure you just left it for me. I thought you'd be nice. So Jensen, our friend Jensen, he stole the show at CES with his tiny $3,000 AI computer. Did you see this?
In my predictions.
Right. Okay. So it's called Project Digits.
Yes.
DIGITS. So excuse, that's my little dog. Someone might be some working next door if you. He's a tiny dog. He sounds like a big German Shepherd. He's a little chunky thing. But sorry about that. It's called Project Digits. So it's an AI supercomputer that can fit in your bag, fit on your desk, and they're going to be selling it at approximately $3,000. So, bit of detail, it's going to run the entire NVIDIA stack, software stack, hardware stack. It's going to run off a GPU, and it's similar to the GPUs that currently you would need to have in a server or connect to a cloud data center. It's paired with an ARM processor. It's using an NVIDIA GB10 Grace Blackwell superchip, and packaged with 128 gig of memory and 4 terabytes of SSD storage.
Yeah.
And it's going to be 1,000 times more powerful than the best laptops, Tom.
Yes.
Does game changing, it's my favourite term, does game changing starts to come to mind?
Well, as soon as you get rid of a battery, right? So the desktop's on purpose. So you get rid of the battery, it means you can get more power to the CPUs. You get the
Yeah.
massive gas turning as well. So no surprise there. Yeah, it's $3,000 US. So what's that going to be? $6,000 Australia or whatever. So they're going to be expensive.
Yeah.
Expect a queue of every data scientist in your organization trying to get one of these things for themselves.
So researchers in robotics, computer vision, autonomous systems. So supercomputing power is measured in terms of flops. So you know what that is, floating point operations per second. The most powerful supercomputers have 1,000 petaflops, and this little device can do 1 petaflop.
Yeah.
So what that actually means when it's at home is that it can support AI tools that can do up to 200 billion parameters.
Yeah.
And you can actually connect 2 of these together to go up to 405 billion parameters. So, for example, GPT 3.5 was 175 billion parameters. So you can run that on your local device.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
that's pretty serious.
Yeah. No, there's it's serious kit. Like it's awesome.
And that price point, I mean, you know, if you were to go out and buy a whatever, I mean, you've worked for architecture firms. I mean, those devices, those laptops with those, you know, GPUs, they're 5 or 6K already. So it's not out of the, you know, it's. So I think it's gonna
Well,
definitely have some impact.
the other thing is it's cheaper than the cloud computer, right? So
Yeah.
that's the argument I get is, well, you know what, we want to do all our dev work on these machines, these personal machines, and once we've stopped stuffing around and we've developed something, we'll put that in the cloud. And that seems to be
or the other way, because you do your dev in the cloud so that your experimentation, so you pay as you go, and then once you know, because it's expensive running GPUs out of cloud. Anyway, I mean, we're going ahead into our predictions. Anyway, that was my first bit of news. Have you got?
Oh, that's it. I mean, I've been watching the CES, the consumer electronic stuff. But Josh, I mean, okay, AIs and everything, big deal. There's some robots. I don't know. I'm not that impressed. Are you impressed by all that stuff, or what are you seeing in the CES?
No, I mean, there's going to be some robots and those sorts of things. I mean, we're going to get into our predictions. The only other point I wanted to make is, which is less sexy, but more, a lot of customers and people that I know listen to the show are Dell customers. So Dell is totally binning all its current PC product range. So that whole Latitude, all those, they've done a total rebrand. So the new Alienware is going to continue as Alienware, and they're going to have Dell, Dell Pro, and Dell Pro Max, basically. So I'm not going to go into it a lot, but Dell is more entry level. So, you know, schoolwork, like the Inspiron line. And there's going to be base, plus, and premium, as well as a desktop version. Pro is going to be more the Latitude type equivalent, so the business grade range. So having NPUs and all AI sort of enabled, 2-in-1, 14, 15, 15-inch, 16-inch, and also desktops as well. And then the Pro Max is going to be more for the CAD design, animation, video rendering, etc. So that's a big change because Dell have had those Latitudes have been around. So I think any Dell customers, you probably want to get yourself across that. And which goes into my first prediction is that 2025 is going to be the year of the device refresh.
Really?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Well, there's 2 things. One is the Windows 10 end of life in October, so everyone's busy rolling out Windows 11. A lot of people bought a lot of endpoint devices during COVID, which is now 4 years ago. So a lot of that stuff is now coming end of life. Slightly self-serving. I'd like my customers to be buying some more devices, but also all the AI chips, right, that we've been talking about on the show. So they're now, so people are wanting to start using the features. And Windows 11 won't support devices that are, some of the devices that are 4 or 5 years old will not be supported in Windows 11. So all those things, I think, are going to be driving, device refresh, and certainly a lot of customers we're talking to are looking at that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Certainly, one of the predictions, obviously, Windows 10 October 2025 is out of life. So we're all going to move into Windows 11. Do you think the AI chips in the desktops, the laptops are there yet, or are they still in the gimmick phase?
Well, I don't think many people are using them. I mean, it's more the applications for them aren't really there yet. So it's sort of, all those features were promised there. It's a bit early. I don't think many people are really using the grunt at this point.
Yeah. It's
but
not what they're going to be used for, but I think they'll be built into the software. So video conferencing, apparently that gets a lot better with AI supported at the endpoint.
Yeah. Well, and also prices are going to go up this year.
Yeah, right.
In Australia, because, I mean, if you've had a look, this isn't a prediction, this is fact. So the AUD versus USD was $1.50 2 months ago. It's now $1.62.
That's right.
So, and with Trump coming in, the US dollars and all the protectionism he's doing over there, like you just mentioned before with the AI chips. So, unfortunately, prices are going to go up across the board.
Yeah.
Because of that. So, yeah, there's a bit of not great news for
tech buyers, right?
For tech buyers in a struggling economy, and we're all hoping there'll be a new government that'll come in both Victoria and federally that'll turn the economy around. Certainly in Victoria.
Is that your prediction? Is it?
It's a wish. It's my wish. It's my Christmas Hanukkah wish is that we get a new government in Victoria.
So I think the point about prices being higher will be around for a while. I think that's really important. Get your planning out the year and try and get your budget with a tech refresh. You got to work out how on earth you're going to squeeze all that together.
Yeah. All right. I think we'll take turns with the predictions. Do you wanna go next?
Yeah. Well, my next one is that IT security is going to become essentially a battle of AI, right? So there'll be less about checking screens and configuration, be more about getting your AI to do all that for you and using AI really, really intelligently to stay on top of security. The couple of benefits for doing that is that it should continue to change things because of security is not a static environment, and it should become a lot easier as well. So less technical. AI should deal with technology and then should be able to report on what's going on. So we're starting to see that. Obviously, Microsoft doing a lot of work in AI Copilot within their security products, but all vendors are doing this now as well. However, the bad guys are going to be doing the same thing. So it's an arms race, security, isn't it? So as soon as you get on top of things, well, they find another way to do that. So the next prediction there in that vein is that dark AI is going to become quite a thing. Mm-hmm. That's where this AI is manipulated by bad actors, rogue states, whatever you want to call it. But they'll harness this technology to then start breaking corporate infrastructure or government infrastructure more and more. So that's going to be far more public.
So okay, that's good. So I'm going to move around on my predictions to match yours. So the Gartner, I don't know if you heard about it, they have a new category called disinformation security. Have you heard about it?
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I don't know about this.
So what it actually means is it's talking about the rise of the deep fake.
Yeah, right.
So now that we have the multimodal AI, so the ability to imitate someone's voice, video, all the stuff on social media, a lot of the elections. So it's becoming huge, right? And the ability to recognize and, someone's identity to actually check that it's actually the person that you're talking to is going to become a growing problem. And disinformation security is an emerging technology category based around actually combating this. So it's around 3 areas. So it's deep fake protection. So uses Gen AI and digital forensic technology to determine whether something is legitimate or not. Impersonation prevention, so evaluates behaviour to, validate authentic actions, and also reputation protection. So it protects from bad actors targeting your organisation by tracking your operations, etc. And Gartner predicting by 2028, 50% of enterprises will adopt products and services specifically to address these disinformation security attacks. And the market leader, I did have a look around. The market leader is a mob called Cyabra, Cyabra. And Israeli, might not surprise you, comes out of the Israeli intelligence forces, but they're going to list on the NASDAQ very soon.
Right.
And they're, all the governments are using them, Amazon using them, Warner Brothers using them. I had a good look at their CYABRA. I did go on the NASDAQ and try to buy shares, but they're not there yet. So anyway, we're not giving official financial advice, but I'm just saying if that's a problem everyone's going to have, I think, I'm just saying, Tom.
Yeah, it's a hard one to solve, right? So this is where, deep fakes, basically get in there and remove trust. So you see the example this year where some guy was convinced to hand over lots of money, where we actually had a video conference to his CFO. We said, yep, that's all good, transfer the money. And it was a video conference where they actually got into that and used deep fakes.
Yeah, so you think you're talking to you, and it could be, later in the year, the podcast. It won't be me. I'll have a deep fake. I'll be sitting on the beach having a cocktail. Anyway, but that is a genuine issue, and I think a lot of enterprises, particularly around social engineering, it's going to be a big problem, and tools that are coming out to address this problem. It's going to be pretty big. So I've sort of jumped in. That was one of my predictions. So back to you.
All right, we're going to open up AI, right? Because
half my predictions are around AI. So where do you want to start?
I'm going to lead with this one. 80% of all AI projects will fail. Twice the rate of normal projects. Twice the rate. So rate versus rate is 40%, 80%. And the reason is, we all know what the reasons are, but first of all, it's going to be a technology-led project where people are going, we want AI, without fully understanding what the hell AI is actually going to do. And that usually ends in tears, right? Because it doesn't actually deliver value. And then a couple of other reasons behind that is that people don't really understand the data behind what AI actually takes. We talked about this a lot as well. But the quality of data required to get quality outcomes from AI is going to cause a lot of pain. The infrastructure required to actually manage an AI model is actually very complicated and tricky, particularly when AI models start to drift or change or produce unexpected results. That can cause a lot of problems, particularly in operations, right? And then the other big issue is that the skills, the people on the ground, they're not skilled up yet. Everyone's playing at the moment. Getting a genuine AI expert or machine learning expert or data scientist, very hard to do.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. So, all right. So we'll go to mine. It's very aligned. It might not surprise you, Tom. So 2024 was the year of piloting and experimentation with AI. So everyone's been doing some experimentation, and this year it's going to be a focus on execution and finding actual business cases beyond, standard tools like M365 Copilot, to more custom Copilot, and dare I say, the year of the agent, which we've been talking about forever and a day. It's going to be the year of the agent, and organizations are going to find that it's difficult. It's not quite there, which is what you've just said. And they're going to, 75% is the number of the enterprises that attempt to build these agents themselves will fail and will turn to consultancies to build these custom setups.
Yeah.
And savvy firms will accept that and will go first rather than trying to do it all themselves. And will come to organizations like Empyrean IT, shameless plug, to help them actually deliver these things properly. But the year of the agent, I mean, Microsoft is saying by the end of the year, we're all going to have hundreds of agents. I don't agree with that. I think it's going to be a bit slower than that. But I think definitely people are going to start looking into doing more custom agents that solve business problems rather than personal productivity. So what are your
Yeah,
thoughts there?
yeah, and I think that's really important because I think people need to go into this with their eyes open. They need to make sure that their business cases really stack up. So
Yeah.
they're going to go in and underestimate the cost and effort required. So if you know that in advance, make sure that even if you double cost and effort, your business case still makes a load of sense. And they're going to do business cases around, I don't know, like it's going to be sort of back office type stuff. It's going to be behind the scenes,
Yeah.
things that make staff more productive. Like, there's no way, or you should be very brave. You'd be very brave if you went out and did customer facing AI. It can be, except for very basic use cases. Customer facing AI is going to be very challenging. Are you going to trust AI with your customers?
Well, that is going to be one of my predictions, but I will qualify. But you're right. I think you're right. I think the back office use cases, automation, so really hyper automation, which is AI driven automation. I think definitely, where in the past you might have used Power Automate, you're now going to use a custom co-pilot with a person in the loop, and customers need to go there. They're not there yet, and I think that's definitely something people should be putting aside a little bit of budget to actually, have a play this year with.
Yeah, but also I think business this is my prediction. And business is going to demand that they're starting to see AI within their organisations.
Yeah, yeah,
You can't
that's
just
happening.
you've got to actually start delivering results.
No, 100%. So that was the rise of the agent. The other one is this sort of multimodal
Yeah,
AI is gonna transform industries. So I don't know about transform, but it's going to take some time. But this ability to have the voice, have the video, for things like text, image, and audio. So healthcare, education, communication services. Thinking about call centers.
Yes.
So we'll over the next couple of years, you think there will be full AI call centers, or that whole space. That's what I mean by customer service. So if you have improved customer service, so that'll know you as that hyper personalization. So it'll know you, it'll know a lot about you. So when you're interacting with an agent so I think most most big organizations, retailers are going to have their agent, and you're going to be and that agent will get to know you as AI evolves, and you'll start to get very hyper personalized recommendations as you walk around the shop, which is pretty scary. It's going to be, that's where I think that that consumer facing stuff, I think, will be will really evolve. What do you think about that?
I think we're going to see some real life ones now. So sales coaching is huge. We've already seen our phone systems are offering agents that listen in to calls. They do a really good job of transcribing voice to text, amazing, and then pumping that out. That's fantastic. But they also start to then prompt a sales call. So if you're talking to someone about the products, it then gives you real time feedback. It also does a lot of detection around sentiment detection. Is this person bored, pissed off, angry, excited, whatever, and then tells you what you need to say. But however, they're all American based. So
Right.
how successful are they in Australia? I don't know. But the technology, when you look at the technology, is pretty freaking awesome. Frankly.
Well, I can tell, and there are already products that do it. Like if something that will listen in on a face-to-face meeting. So let's say you go out instead of sitting there taking notes, you just have your phone there. The AI will be listening to the meeting and will email you notes afterwards, and probably the person that you met with a summary with action items. I mean, that's probably already there, but I'd like to think that this year that sort of stuff. Yeah. Like I'd find that useful myself, because you're always forgetting about what you promised, sometimes in the meeting.
So clever. So my medical friends are telling me they've got this already in their medical practices where the AI is making patient notes for them, and they're completely comfortable with that.
Well, that's already happening. So I suppose that's bringing it into more of the corporate space, because we haven't been using that. And even legal, you think about that in legal, education. So I think, that sort of stuff's going to be pretty huge. And then moving into the multimodal, it's more also robots. So I think robotics is going to become this multimodal robots. I mean, we've spoken about the Tesla one. There's other ones like from Amica and Digit, being used in, retail, warehousing. We all know Amazon. I mean, Coles recently announced a massive robotics rollout for their for
Yeah.
their home delivery. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more mainstream robotics. What are you
Yeah.
in this year? I mean, I don't think we're going to be having them walking around the streets. I mean, I use my vacuum cleaner as a robot. I'm sure have you got them? It just does you just leave it and it does your house for you. It's
No,
amazing.
I've got like stairs, so it's like a darling.
No, but that's fine. But you can move it around. It will map. It just maps your room, and you just leave it, and it does your.
Yeah.
The dog barks at it, but I'm just saying that's already
Example.
mainstream. That's mainstream, but I think my prediction is this year there's just going to be a lot more.
Yeah, well, they're saying that the vacuum cleaner becomes the entry point to more robots into the house.
Yeah.
So your vacuum cleaner's actually picking up stuff as well, putting it away for you. That's quite useful. I'll be out of a job when that happens, but that's okay.
Sorry, back to you, Tom. I did a couple in a row there.
No, that's okay. Here's my favourite prediction. End of passwords. End of passwords, Josh.
Nice.
So we're already there. Everyone listening to this will know that we don't need passwords anymore, but most corporates always have some password somewhere in systems. I reckon this will be the end of that. I think this year people will just finally go, you know what, we're upgrading. Every SaaS platform, every software tool these days has a no password option, right? And so I think people realise now, finally, the passwords are an absolute waste of time and a security risk in their own right. So I reckon this year will be no more passwords. It'll be face recognition with your phone and your agent, and that's it. Never talk about passwords again.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree, and can't happen fast enough. All right, now this one you're gonna groan, but I checked this. All the major consulting companies had the same. Private cloud will gain momentum. It's true. I'm not the only one. So on premises will rise again. Cost, data ownership, security, edge computing, local models, local use cases, but it's unlikely. They're unlikely to go with Broadcom VMware, given how much Broadcom VMware are literally screwing their customers over. So other vendors will pick up the business, whether it's that new Azure Local that we spoke about, or other things, Nutanix. That will increase. Even things like OpenStack or other one. That is definitely. So it doesn't mean the cloud's going to go down. It's just there's going to be new use cases that customers will want to deploy locally. Yeah.
100%, particularly as pricing of cloud SaaS tools continue to increase in US dollar terms, right? So if you bought your own server now, shoved it in a data center, and then you're already ahead. It pays off in about 10 months, from what I can see.
Yeah.
For stable, reliable business use cases, it's such a good use case.
All right, back to you.
All right. Well, you've stolen a few of my. We talked about this one, AI and IoT. So AI will find its way into every Internet of Things device. As we know, all those models are getting smaller and cheaper to run. So and they're open source or whatever. So they're putting them on chips or whatever. So expect to see them in everything. Video cameras, for example, or security video cameras will start to have AI embedded within them, which makes them more usable, or actually makes them more intelligent, so they can start to do proper things like checking in stock for you or alerting on security stuff we talked about years ago, but they never quite delivered on it. They should start to do more of this stuff as well. So if you've got any use cases that require, or you've got legacy IoT devices, have a real think about what they're doing for you and what AI can actually do for you in those devices.
Well, dare I say, do you think the wearables is going to the AI is going to bring the wearable back? The Meta Ray-Bans,
cool. Yeah. So the glasses they're very technically specific use cases. So like a technical guy goes on site and he needs a manual, but the glasses were very bulky and hard to use and expensive. Whereas now the frame's a lot lighter. Their interface is a lot easier to use. So that therefore the use cases expand, right? So
also the AI vision, the ability to now process vision, you'd think, that would. I mean, it's a similar use case, but will it now be able to be delivered in a more usable form factor at a cheaper price point, because they weren't cheap, those devices. But maybe the wearable, I think that there may be some wearables that will come back. All right, so I've got two things. So I think one is that AI will drive nuclear energy resurgence, given how much power it costs to run these goddamn things. So, there'll be the advancement in SMRs, which are small modular reactors. So I think we've got to power these. We've got to power these things somehow, and we're not going to do it using current methods. So maybe nuclear energy will have a bit of a comeback. And the other one is 2025 is the year of the lighting up of dark data. So majority of our data sits in documents, images, video, and audio. So AI and improved data platforms will allow people to actually gain some value and insight and use from this data. So I think this year will be the year.
Dark data. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah. So all this data we store and pay for, and we've done no idea why we do it, actually get some value from it by what? Through training your models or using them as reference points or actually extracting data sets from the data. Yeah, so that's really interesting, actually.
Well, in the previous show with the Ignite, there was an announcement about the ability to use 4Omni to process video, audio, if you recall from the last podcast. So, if Microsoft are doing it, they're fast followers. Everyone else will be doing it. So that ability to really get into your unstructured data, which is where all your knowledge is, and actually get some insights, whether it's video, audio. I think this year, and in alignment to that, the rise of the cloud data lakehouse.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So where, not just a sort of more traditional data warehouse, so a lakehouse has structured data management capabilities, integration. So obviously Microsoft Fabric is the one that's and things like Databricks and Snowflake. That's going to be, I think that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge this year. So so those are my couple. So back over to you.
Yeah, look, just with the data, I think that's right. I think every business needs to be building upon their data capabilities, right? They need to be selling that back into the business. So we spend a lot of time doing that, actually, making sure the business understands what our data services provide, not direct, use cases, but they're the indirect. They're the engine behind everything we do. And so far, people get it, but it can be hard sell at times.
Sorry.
Next one to make. I'm gonna quantum. I'm not betting on it this year. I'm going to say it's not ready. It's actually, I thought it was ready. I looked into it further. It's only for specific high-end use cases. It's nowhere near mainstream.
I'm glad.
Back my previous predictions.
I'm glad you said that. You're the only one. I mean, everywhere you look about for predictions for this year, they're all talking up quantum. I think
they are, but it's not accessible. It's too expensive. It's too niche. It's way too niche to be mainstream. So it's not there yet.
All right, my next two, AI will pass the speech Turing test. So by the end of this year, we won't know whether we're talking to AI or to a human being.
Yeah, we'll know because a human we're stupid.
Yeah, we're not going to know. So what does that mean? Everyone's going to want to have their own voice AI. They're going to want to have relationships with them, and they're going to be manipulated by them. So I think this year, and the other one is that I think AI-enabled development is going to really. Up to now, it's sort of been more coding and testing. But now you can use AI to do the whole process. So business requirements, design, to build, to code. So if you think about the Microsoft the Plan Designer that we spoke about from a couple, so that's an example. That's not the only one. Called Turing bots. So Turing's getting a good run. So I think this year that's gonna continue to evolve as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Where you can just essentially tell the system what you want from an application, and it then goes and builds and tests and develops the application for you. Why not? It's already, all our software developers are already using AI to give them all the code anyway. So it's a logical next step.
Well, I mean, and then I think that leads into the rise of the platform. So if people, I think you're going to want a platform that does your AI, does your data, does your security, does your low-code development, does your automation, one platform, rather than using 50 products, which, clearly points to someone like Microsoft. Well, it does. I mean, they've got the whole thing. Sorry?
Or Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick your poison, but I mean, most of our listeners would be in the Microsoft space. So, but that's becoming more important rather than having to try to stitch together,
Sure.
5 or 6 different products would be a nightmare. So I think the rise of the cloud platform. And one thing I did see that was really interesting, I don't know if you saw, was Satya Nadella's comment that he thinks that the SaaS agents are going to kill the SaaS market.
Yeah.
So what his comment was, agents will transform every process. So businesses, he's saying, will implement a collection of agents that will take on the tasks that things like ERP and CRM fulfill today. The data will remain, but the activities and processes will be run by agents on top. Interesting statement from him.
That's a good statement, but I mean, if you say, okay, I'm going to replace Salesforce with agents.
Oh, it's a while away, but I think, if you're, you have to be, and also I think if you're thinking about, another way to look at it is with low code and AI enabled development.
Yeah.
All those sort of, niche SaaS products that you've got. Well, could you build them yourself or get a low code app and not have so many SaaS applications? You can just have it on your platform. So is that gonna, that is our way of looking at it. So
it's really interesting. I think you start to consolidate your platform, mate, and then you have agents that then maximize the data, and you've got core systems that do particular things like your accounting platform, right? And then your agents sit above that. That makes sense, but I don't see that happening this year. I think this year is about proving agents actually work and add value.
Yeah. 100%. Did you have any others?
That is it for me, my friend.
All right, I've got 2 more security ones. So I found this one and I thought it was interesting. Look out for ransomware as a distraction. Right? So ransomware has been a blight on business. Things that will change. So ransomware is going to evolve beyond its current model. So what they mean by as a distraction, where the attackers will use encryption to distract you while they're attacking your data and siphoning off and selling your sensitive data.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, okay. It's pretty nasty, but why not?
It is nasty. So, or even more concerning is they'll skip the encryption phase altogether and simply steal your data and send you a ransom demand. And the reason it's worse is because it's harder to detect and protect. So if you don't know they're there, it's even worse, right, than knowing they're there. So that's interesting. So that'll keep some people up at night. And talking about injecting malicious code into healthy data to render it worthless, particularly in the age of AI when data is so important. So that's something for people to think about. So what does that mean? So that means the need for immutable backups, the need for air-gapped copies of your data, not relying too much on SaaS providers to do everything for you. All those sorts of things are going to be important, and that identity attacks will increase in 2025. So Active Directory specifically everyone uses Active Directory. Most people do not spend enough money looking after it, backing it up, taking care of it.
True.
And, I think 89% of consumers have concerns about AI when it comes to their identity and about their personal data. So that's going to be a big issue for organizations. And threat actors are going to evolve their attention to where the biggest payout, which is the data within cloud-based SaaS and PaaS applications. That's interesting. It says there's been more SaaS breaches in the last 6 months than in the prior 2 years combined. And the compromises have been identity-based. And with single sign-on, once your identity is compromised, attackers can use that one credential and privileges to move laterally through all the services. So, interesting. So get on your identity protection.
Trust.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting, actually, going for the SaaS, going for your data.
Yeah.
Data one's a concern, but obviously backups are really important, immutable backups, as you say, and then monitoring these systems all the time.
So we've got through that pretty quick. So I think the point, what I'm seeing in the market, I mean, and you, Tom, you can, is really, we talk about the five pillars of AI adoption. Know your use cases, right? Not doing it for fun. What's going to actually work for your business?
Yeah.
Data, get your data platform, connect your data sources, get your crap in, crap out, make sure your data's sorted. Obviously, you can't wait to get all your, a 5-year project, but you might want to start in different silos so you can actually start solving some business problems. Your security, so get your data security in place.
Yeah.
To protecting the data once you're using AI. Your platform, so what are you going to be using on-prem, cloud, work out what you're going to do, and then looking at the agents, the Copilot studios, how you're going to automate your processes, what are you going to do with it. So, that's what sort of I'm seeing. So lots of purview, lots of Microsoft purview around, data tagging, data protection, lots of fabric, lots of, custom co-pilots and all those sorts of things. And, those are the conversations and projects as an organisation Imperium's been doing with a lot of customers.
Yeah.
And I did see your organisation release something pretty cool.
Yeah.
About smelling the lemon or sucking the lemon or something. Tell us about that.
This is a really good example. Actually, we're getting our data lined up properly. So the idea is that, you can use lemonchecker.com.au, put your property in there and work out if it's going to have capital gains over long term. So a lot of people I know, have bought pretty shitty investment properties, thinking they're getting into the property market, but they end up going backwards because they buy duds, they buy shitty apartments in a city, brand new apartments, whatever. There's a range of poor investments people can make, but the people selling them will tell you how awesome they are and how you're going to get into the industry. So we've come up with this little calculator, lemon checker, that you literally just put your address in and it'll tell you, is this likely to be good investment or not? That's based on our data science and also our knowledge of the industry. So trying to bring those two things together and make it digestible.
So on the back end, so you've got some sort of, data lake, you've got some data repository that you're mining. Right. Yeah, it looks very cool. So well done.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That looked really cool. I saw that and I thought, nice one, Tom.
Well, this is like a great example of, and this is what all IT people should be doing, is you work with marketing, your data guys, your software guys, your business experts. And it's the combinations. When you bring all those people together, you actually get these really cool, nifty ideas. And that's, from my mind, that's what agents are about as well. So you bring all those people together and they'll tell you what an agent can do, what it can't do.
That concept of fusion teams, what you're talking about, I mean, what we see with all our projects, it is just so critical that, a project is not just IT led, because that's going to fail, and not just business led. It needs to be both.
Isn't that true?
Because the business users have unreasonable expectations, and IT doesn't focus on so they're ruthless, and they don't understand what software delivery is about, and IT is just focused on the technology side. It's got to be done collaboratively.
Yeah. And that's where the fun is, right? And that's what is motivating for your junior staff when they actually deliver stuff that is useful.
Obviously, keep HR, not excluding the HR department. We don't want HR in there. Sorry, Tom.
I don't agree with that. I do not agree with those comments at all.
Yeah, why is that?
No, get them involved.
I'm joking. They're never easy to work with. That's all I'm saying. HR's never easy to work with as a department. I'm joking.
Should hear what they say about IT.
True.
All right, so we've made some pretty boring, not boring predictions, pretty predictable predictions, I'd say there. The only one I like is the end of passwords. That's the one I want to see the end of. I wish I could be more bullish on quantum, but I don't.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think there's, hopefully we've given some insights and some things for people to think about for the coming year around agents, around getting your data order, the disinformation security, this new channel, thinking about how are you going to address these deep fakes, voice and video, using AI to really provide very hyper personalized services to your customers. The dark data, I think that's big. Looking at how can you get stuff off file servers into SharePoint or into data lakes. That's something, that's still very common. So then you can start actually getting some value out of it. So, and the identity protection as well. There was a lot there that we got through.
Yeah, there's a lot to do this year. Frankly, Josh is excited. That's the takeaway for me. There's a truckload to do. We're in the driving seat. I think anyone with IT leadership skills, you're in the driving seat. Bloody go for it, I reckon.
Get out there, get into it. Yeah. Well, thanks, Tom. As always, thanks everyone for listening. Hopefully that was of use to you. If you've got any questions, you can reach me at jorubens@empyreanit.com.au. And Tom and I, obviously, you can contact us on LinkedIn. And thanks so much for listening. And as always, thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Josh. Speak soon.